Welcome to Shadows of the Past, where the darkest corners of human nature are laid bare. Tonight, as the rain falls softly outside, we invite you to settle in, dim the lights, and let these chilling true crime stories weave their way into your mind. These are tales of ambition, betrayal, and vengeance. Stories that linger long after the final word. If you're here to drift into sleep or to unravel the mysteries of the human psyche, leave a comment to tell us where you're listening from. Like and subscribe to join us in the shadows. Now, let's begin. Part 1, The Fall of Elizabeth Ziyang. In the quiet, affluent suburb of Sunny Hills, Auckland, New Zealand, November 28, 2020, began like any other weekend. The sun cast golden rays over manicured lawns and the air carried the promise of a peaceful day. But for one woman, Elizabeth Ziyang, known to her friends as Mai Zing, Zhang Ma Zhe, this day would mark the end of a life built on ambition, shattered by betrayal. Her story is one of soaring success and a descent into darkness, where the line between trust and treachery blurred until it vanished entirely. Elizabeth Ziyang was no ordinary woman. Born in 1965 in China, she was a beacon of intelligence and determination from a young age. Her family saw her as their pride, a daughter destined for greatness. With a sharp mind and an unrelenting drive, she honed her English skills, as if sensing her future lay beyond China's borders. After graduating university, she stepped into the fast-paced world of the Shenzhen Stock Exchange, where her acumen caught the eye of a man named Mr. Fu. Their meeting sparked a whirlwind romance, and soon they were married, their happiness crowned by the birth of a daughter. To those who knew them, the Zhiangs were the epitome of success, a family that had it all. But success, as it often does, came with ambition. During China's era of reform, the Zhiangs amassed wealth through stock trading, their fortune growing with each calculated move. In 1997, seeking new horizons, they set their sights on New Zealand. Auckland became their new home, a fresh canvas for Elizabeth's dreams. She didn't just adapt, she thrived. Within 3 years, she founded a business college that drew over 100 students in its first class. Her charisma, her persuasiveness, her unrelenting energy, it was as if she could bend the world to her will. The school flourished, her wealth grew, and Elizabeth Ziyang became a titan in Auckland's Chinese community. Yet, beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Business disputes forced the closure of her college, a blow that would have broken a lesser spirit. But Elizabeth was not one to falter. She pivoted, taking a senior role at a major corporation where her talent shone for 9 years. Then in 2010, she ventured into immigration consulting, bridging Chinese entrepreneurs with opportunities in New Zealand. Her profits soared, her network expanded, and her reputation as a dynamic, kind-hearted businesswoman solidified. She acquired vineyards, a film company, and connections with high-ranking officials. To the world, Elizabeth Ziyang was unstoppable. But success breeds envy, and ambition courts danger. In 2013, at a seminar, Elizabeth met Fong Sun, a businessman 8 years her junior. They shared a hometown, a spark of connection that quickly grew to something more. Fong, a married man with a family in China, saw in Elizabeth not just a partner, but a path to greater wealth. Their relationship blurred the lines between business and intimacy, unnoticed by their spouses. By 2014, Fong relocated his family to New Zealand, staying at Elizabeth's mansion. Together, they founded Sunbo Company, pouring $17,500,000, 0 cents, into local ventures. Elizabeth's star burned brighter than ever. Yet the higher one climbs, the harder the fall. By 2019, Sunbo was bleeding money. Assets were sold, including Elizabeth's beloved Carrick Vineyard, a symbol of her passion. Her marriage to Mr. Fu crumbled under suspicions of her affair with Fong. Furious, Fu reported her to the police, only to face charges himself for trespassing. The divorce was bitter, public, and left scars. Meanwhile, tensions with Fong escalated. He blamed Elizabeth for Sunbo's failures, accusing her of mismanaging funds. A lawsuit followed, with Fong claiming she caused $14 million, 0 cents in losses, and owed $5,900,000, 0 cents. Elizabeth countered that she had used personal funds to prop up the company, but the court ordered Sunbo's liquidation. Her empire was in ruins. As her world collapsed, Elizabeth's personal life unraveled. She confided in her friend, Mrs. Wu, about mounting debts and threats from Fong. Her once vibrant spirit dimmed, replaced by anxiety. She turned to gambling, visiting Auckland's casino 381 times in 4 years, a secret addiction that drained her further. On November 28, 2020, Mrs. Wu grew worried when Elizabeth missed a planned meeting. Calls went unanswered, an eerie silence that gnawed at her. Driving to Elizabeth's mansion, Wu found no response at the door. Using a spare key, she entered, the house cloaked in an unnatural stillness. In the bedroom, bloodstains marred the floor, and the security system was disabled. Panic surged through her as she dialed the police. The police arrived swiftly, their investigation revealing a chilling scene. The security cameras meant to protect had been sabotaged. No footage, no clues, just blood and absence. Mrs. Wu insisted Elizabeth would never vanish without a word. Her friend's silence screamed of danger. The next evening, a resident spotted a Range Rover parked on a quiet street, bloodstains beside it. Police collected samples, and a night shift officer, acting on instinct, broke into the vehicle. Inside the trunk, beneath blankets and pillows, they found a suitcase. The smell hit first, a rancid wave of decay. Opening it, they discovered Elizabeth's body, stabbed over 20 times, a 7-inch wound nearly severing her neck. The brutality shocked even seasoned officers. News of the murder rippled through Auckland's Chinese community, shattering the illusion of safety in Sunny Hills. This was no random act. It reeked of vengeance. The killer had entered the mansion undetected, used Elizabeth's own car to dispose of her body, and vanished with her phone, laptop, and security drives. Every move was calculated, every trace erased. The police turned their attention to those closest to Elizabeth, her ex-husband, Mr. Fu, and her former partner, Fong's son. Mr. Fu had motive. His divorce was fueled by betrayal, but his alibi was solid. He had remarried, co-parented pets with Elizabeth, and even tried to mediate her disputes with Fong. He revealed Fong's threats, how he'd warned Elizabeth to repay debts or face consequences. The spotlight shifted to Fong, a man consumed by financial ruin and resentment. His life had spiraled after Sunbo's collapse, and evicted by his wife, he lived just steps from Elizabeth's mansion, drowning in debt and creditor calls. His hatred for Elizabeth was palpable, fueled by her gambling and perceived deception. The investigation uncovered disturbing details. Fong had hired 4 detectives, paying $200.00 an hour to track Elizabeth's movements. One, a retired Chinese detective named Jimmy, attached a tracker to her car. Days before her death, Jimmy reported her casino visits to Fong, unaware it might push him over the edge. On the morning of the murder, Fong told Jimmy to avoid Elizabeth's house, claiming police were near. Jimmy, suspicious, refused to erase the tracker's data, a decision that proved crucial. Police searched Fong's home, finding a diagram of Elizabeth's mansion with camera locations marked. Surveillance footage captured a man near her home at 3:38 a.m. on November 28. By 4:26 a.m., Elizabeth's phone signal died. At 7:48 a.m., her Range Rover was seen leaving, returning shortly after. A figure was spotted walking from a landfill where her devices were likely dumped. The evidence mounted, but the final nail came from DNA. Under Elizabeth's fingernails, traces matched Fong's DNA. His defense, that it transferred when his son touched her belongings, was flimsy, crumbling under scrutiny. On April 26, 2021, the trial began in Auckland City Court. Mrs. Wu testified to Elizabeth's fear. Her reports of Fong's threats, friends corroborated, painting a picture of a man unhinged by loss. The jury saw through Fong's denials. His sentence, life imprisonment, with parole possible only after 18 years and 6 months. As the gavel fell, Elizabeth's life flashed before those who knew her. A woman who rose from nothing, built an empire, and fell to the blade of a man she once trusted. Elizabeth Zhang's story is a haunting reminder that success can be a double-edged sword. Her ambition lifted her to dizzying heights, but it also drew those who would exploit her trust. In the quiet of Sunny Hills, where safety was promised, her blood stained the illusion. As the rain falls, imagine her standing at the edge of her dreams, unaware of the shadow creeping closer. Who do you trust when the past turns predator? Part 2, the tragic love of Yang Yang. In the bustling skies above China where clouds part for dreams, Yang was a star. Born in 1976 in Harbin, her childhood was a storm of her parents' violent arguments, a tempest that forged her into a stubborn, fiercely independent young woman. By 1997, she was a flight attendant for Shaman Airlines, her beauty and diligence earning her accolades at just 21. Her life seemed destined for brilliance, a canvas of ambition and grace. But on a routine flight from Beijing to Xiamen, a passenger's smile would pull her into a love that would consume her, a love that would end in blood. This is the story of Yang and Gu Jiming. Yang's early years were far from easy. Growing up in Harbin, she watched her parents' marriage dissolve in shouts and blows, their fights leaving scars on her young heart. Her mother, a single parent after a bitter divorce, moved them to Xiamen, where Yang learned to rely on herself. Her perfectionism was her shield. Every braid had to be flawless, every decision resolute. To ease her mother's burden, she chose to board at middle school, a decision that honed her independence. By high school, she enrolled in a vocational program, excelling academically and leading the student council. Her beauty turned heads, her determination set her apart, and her future seemed boundless. In 1993, Shaman Airlines partnered with her school, offering a chance to soar, literally. Yang applied to become a flight attendant, outshining over 2,000 candidates to secure one of 30 coveted spots. Her training was rigorous, but she passed with flying colors, stepping into the glamorous world of aviation by 1997. At 21, she was named one of the airline's top 10 flight attendants. Her smile, a beacon to passengers, her diligence, a promise of greatness. The job was envied, the pay generous, and Yang poured her heart into it, serving with a warmth that masked the storms of her past. But ambition burned brighter than satisfaction. Yang knew a vocational degree would limit her. She craved more, a chance to redefine herself. In a bold move, she paused her career to enroll in Peking University's adult education program, majoring in business administration. The campus was a new world, alive with ideas and possibilities. Yang thrived, her beauty complemented by her love for ballet and sports. She was no partygoer, dressing simply, studying diligently, and even serving as flag bearer at the university's centennial celebration. Her classmates admired her, but none foresaw the shadow approaching, a man who would unravel her carefully built life. It was 1998, her second semester at Peking, when a phone call shattered her peace. The dormitory manager's voice echoed, "Yang, you have a call." Downstairs, she picked up the receiver, and a voice, strange yet faintly familiar, greeted her. After a moment, it clicked. Gu Jiming. A year earlier, on a flight, he'd been a persistent passenger, smiling brightly, requesting coffee, then cola, then help with the feedback form. He'd asked for her number, and she'd given him her pager, thinking it harmless. Gyo paged her relentlessly, inviting her to meals, but Yang, busy and uninterested, brushed him off with a single polite call. She assumed distance would keep him at bay. Beijing to Xiamen was a world apart. Yet here he was, his voice pulling her back. Gu Jiming was no ordinary suitor. A businessman from Beijing, 10 years her senior, he exuded wealth and charm. He'd learned her mother had shared her dorm number after seeing his persistent pages. His sincerity, his polished manners, left an impression on Yang's mother, who saw him as a good match. That call changed everything. Yang felt a flicker of curiosity, a warmth at his persistence. The next day, Gu arrived at Peking University in a Mercedes, dressed impeccably, a bouquet of flowers in hand. To Yang, it was like a scene from a dream. He didn't look 30, he'd said, hinting he was single, unattached. Her heart, untested by love, began to waver. Gu's pursuit was relentless. Flowers arrived daily. Luxury cars whisked her to dinners, and he even enrolled in an English class at Beijing, attending just twice, but enough to be near her. Yang, with little romantic experience, was swept into his orbit. He painted himself as a bachelor, young at heart, untouched by marriage. She believed him, her defenses crumbling. When she fell ill, Gu was the first she called. and he dropped everything to rush her to the hospital. He gave her a special pager, and she waited for his messages, her heart quickening with each beep. 3 days without contact plunged her into distress, a sign she'd fallen deep into his trap. On her birthday, Gu pulled out all the stops, 99,999 roses, filled a 5-star Beijing hotel, a gesture that brought Yang to tears. She threw herself into his arms, and they began dating officially. The next day, he invited her to Roman Garden Apartments, introducing her to colleagues as his girlfriend. He suggested she move in, citing the dorm's poor conditions. Blinded by love, Yang agreed, leaving her studies behind to live with him. Their days were sweet, filled with laughter and closeness, but cracks soon appeared. Gu's phone calls in dialect, mentions of a child, and business trips raised her suspicions. His eyes avoided hers during these calls, stirring her intuition. Yang didn't confront him directly. Instead, she asked the housekeeper, a woman from Gu's hometown. The housekeeper's evasive answers, praising Gu as a good person, confirmed her fears. Gu was married with a wife and child in Guangdong. Devastated, Yang confronted him. Gu's reaction was theatrical. Tears, apologies, claims his marriage was loveless, bound only by a child. He spoke of a past girlfriend who left him, promising to divorce for Yang. His words, forced but emotional, swayed her. She stayed, clinging to hope, but the truth gnawed at her. Soon after, Yang became pregnant. Terrified, still a student, she and Gu decided to terminate the pregnancy. The loss fueled her resentment. She was his mistress, not his future. She set a deadline, divorce within 2 years or lose her. The relationship grew volatile, her mood swings clashing with his patience. In 1999, during Chinese New Year, they traveled to Guangdong. Yang demanded he resolve his marriage. Gu hesitated, torn by his child. Frustrated, she insisted on accompanying him to confront his wife, but her courage faltered. She left for Xiamen alone, reminding Gu of her ultimatum. Gu's parents, furious at the affair, followed them to Beijing, staying in their apartment under the guise of medical treatment. Their disapproval was palpable, escalating when Gu's Rolex vanished. They accused Yang, and Gu's suspicions stung her deeply. The rift widened. By late 1999, Yang considered studying abroad in Switzerland to escape the chaos. Gu didn't object, but his calls followed her, relentless, tracking her hotel room by room. Her holidays were spent flying back to him, unable to break free. Yet she saw his flaws, his acceptance of affairs, his nights with hostesses. Once, catching him with women in a karaoke room, she threw her bag in anger. Gil retaliated, striking her head with a brick, leaving her needing stitches. The final straw came when Gu admitted buying a Beijing house under his wife's name, claiming it was for business. His parents planned to move his family to Beijing, solidifying his marriage. Yang felt trapped, her role as the other woman unbearable. In a desperate act, she flew to Guangdong, posing as a registration official. She tricked Gu's wife into drinking mercury from thermometers, hoping to disrupt their marriage. The wife survived, hospitalized in time, but Gu, suspecting Yang, grew distant. Their love, once vibrant, was now a battlefield. By April 2001, Yang planned to study in Canada, seeking a fresh start. She returned to Beijing for a visa, still entangled with Gu. They no longer lived together, but he helped with her application. On June 27, 2001, around midnight, Yang went to Gu's home, knowing he'd return late from client entertainment. When he arrived, she demanded to talk. Gu, cold and dismissive, let her in but ignored her, retreating to the bathroom. Overhearing him on the phone with another woman, Yang's anger flared. She taunted him, claiming she had a new boyfriend. Gu's rage erupted. They had sex, a fleeting moment of passion that masked the storm brewing. As Gu slept, Yang lay awake, memories of their years together replaying like a slow-motion tragedy. Checking his phone, she saw messages confirming her fears. Gu woke, furious, and a struggle ensued. He grabbed a knife, lunging at her. In the chaos, Yang seized it, stabbing him in the stomach. Stunned, they stared at each other. Gu shouted for help, grappling for the knife. Yang stabbed again, neck, chest, over 10 times, until he collapsed. Exhausted, she dragged his body to the bathroom, cleaned the blood-soaked room. She washed bedding, packed the knife and stained items in garbage bags, and dumped them in a nearby trash can. Yang returned with a suitcase intending to hide Gu's body, but it was too small. As she bought a larger one, the housekeeper called the police, forcing her to flee. She treated a hand wound, changed residences, and continued her visa application. On October 8, 2001, at the Canadian Embassy, she was arrested, charged with murder and theft for taking Gu's phone and car. She faced trial. In September 2002, she was sentenced to death. But her appeal, citing Gu's deception, led to a suspended death sentence in August 2003. Like Yan Yan's life was a tapestry of promise and pain. She fought for a love she believed was hers, only to find it built on lies. Her story is a haunting echo of trust betrayed, of a heart pushed past its breaking point. As the rain falls, picture her in that Beijing apartment, the knife in her hand, the weight of her choices crushing her. What would you do when love turns lethal? Part 3, the beheading at Let's Hotel. In the neon-lit heart of Sapporo's Susukino district, where nightlife pulses and secrets thrive, a man named Hiroshi Ura lived a double life. By day, he was a dependable husband and father, a construction materials worker known for his quiet honesty. By night, he slipped into women's clothing, his face transformed by makeup, dancing under the flickering lights of clubs. On July 1, 2023, Hiroshi stepped into the Let's Hotel, a place that promised discretion but delivered death. His severed head would become the centerpiece of a crime that shocked Japan, unraveling a family's love, a daughter's pain, and a motive shrouded in mystery. This is the story of Hiroshi Ura, Runa Tamura, and a murder that defies explanation. Sapporo, the capital of Hokkaido, is a city of contrasts. Snowy serenity by day, vibrant chaos by night. Susukino, its famed red light district, rivals Tokyo's Kabukicho in its allure. Bars, clubs, and love hotels line the streets, offering escape to those seeking it. The Let's Hotel, a 7-story concrete structure, stood unassuming in the daylight, its simple walls hiding the desires within. At night, its neon signs cast an eerie glow, a beacon for fleeting encounters. Inside, rooms were equipped with TVs, refrigerators, and complimentary drinks, a veneer of comfort masking the transient nature of its guests. It was here, in room 202, that Hiroshi Ura's life would end in a way no one could have foreseen. Hiroshi Ura was 62, a man of routine and restraint. Living 18 miles from Sapporo with his wife and 2 grown children, he was the picture of reliability. To colleagues, he was serious, trustworthy, a man who carried the weight of his responsibilities without complaint. But Hiroshi harbored a secret, one he guarded even from those closest to him. For years, he'd driven alone to Tsukino, shedding his workaday self for a persona draped in shimmering dresses and heavy makeup. In the clubs, he was a woman, bold and glamorous, his true identity buried beneath layers of artifice. His wife, his children, his co-workers, none knew of this hidden life. On the afternoon of July 1, 2023, Hiroshi prepared for a night he had anticipated for weeks. A disco party at a Susukino club promised middle-aged revelry, a chance to lose himself in music and movement. In his suburban home, he opened a box hidden under his bed, its contents a portal to his other self. Lipsticks, powders, a shimmering silver mini dress, black stockings, and leather shoes. He applied his makeup with care, each stroke erasing Hiroshi the worker, summoning Hiroshi the dancer. Styling his hair, he glanced in the mirror, satisfied with the transformation. Without a word to his wife, he drove to Sapporo, arriving early, his heart racing with anticipation. The club was alive with color and sound, its stage hosting belly dancers and performers who shifted seamlessly between genders. Hirotoshi, in his silver dress, drew eyes immediately. He was a regular in Susukino, known in some circles for his bold attire, yet always careful to keep his world separate. As the music pulsed, he danced, the crowd's energy fueling his freedom. Time slipped away, and by 10 p.m. the party ended, the crowd dispersing reluctantly. Hiroshi lingered, snapping photos with friends, savoring the night. But instead of heading home, he drove to the Let's Hotel, a rendezvous awaiting him. At 10:30 p.m., Hiroshi stood at an intersection near the hotel, still in women's clothing, waiting for someone. A figure approached. A woman, petite, her face obscured by a black hat and mask, blonde hair peeking out. They exchanged brief words, and by 11 p.m., they entered the Let's Hotel, renting room 202. The hotel, prioritizing privacy, required no ID, only check-in formality. The staff noted the pair, Hiroshi in a silver jacket and short skirt, and the woman A in a white shirt, shorts, and skirt pushing a large black suitcase. To the staff, they were just another couple, unremarkable in Susukino's eclectic nightlife. 3 hours later, at 2 a.m., A left the hotel alone, still masked, now dressed in a long black coat, black pants, and knee-high boots. The suitcase trailed behind her and something bulky protruded under her coat as if concealing a secret. She turned right, then west, vanishing from surveillance cameras. Room 202 fell silent, its occupant unchecked out, unnoticed. By 3 p.m. the next day, a hotel employee, sensing something amiss, entered the room. The bedroom was pristine, bed made, toothbrushes untouched. But the bathroom door was ajar. Inside, a shirtless figure knelt by the bathtub, head bowed. Or so it seemed, as the employee's eyes adjusted, horror gripped him. There was no head. He fled, calling the police, believing the victim was a woman. Police and emergency responders arrived, their gloves snapping on as they entered room 202. The scene was chilling. A headless male body, a single fatal wound, no blood, no signs of struggle. The cause of death was blood loss, shock, but the precision suggested calculation. The head was gone, as were the victim's clothes, phone, and ID. Scattered fingerprints, likely from past guests, offered no matches. The staff provided a lead, the woman, A, who checked in with the victim. Described as 4'11" to 5'2", possibly in her 20s or 30s, she seemed unfamiliar with the hotel, as if it was her first visit. The suitcase, the mask, the swift exit. She was the key. The investigation deepened. Surveillance showed A leaving at 2 a.m., pausing briefly, perhaps to avoid cameras before disappearing. On July 3rd, a woman reported her husband, Hiroshi Ura, missing. He'd left home for a disco party, his car later found near the club. A surgical scar on the headless body matched Hiroshi's appendectomy, and fingerprints confirmed his identity. The police delved into Hiroshi's life, uncovering his secret. In Susukino, he was known as a cross-dresser, using his feminine guise to enter clubs at discounted rates. But his behavior wasn't harmless. Women reported him flirting aggressively, sometimes too physically, even tricking one into a hotel assault she never reported. 2 clubs had him on watch lists. His reputation tainted, the focus shifted to A. Her petite frame suggested a woman, but beheading required skill and nerve. Could she have acted alone? The hotel staff insisted only 2 entered the room, yet the crime's complexity hinted at an accomplice. Taxi records led to a breakthrough, 15 minutes after A left. A car picked her up 656 feet from the hotel. The owner was Dr. Osamu Tamura, a 59-year-old psychiatrist from Atsubetsu, Sapporo. Known for his skill and affability, Osamu's recent behavior, eating in his car, frequenting internet cafes, raised red flags. His daughter, 29-year-old Runa Tamura, matched age description. The Tamura family was a study in devotion. Osamu, once a guitarist with a YouTube channel, and his wife Hiroko, a gardener and painter, doted on Runa, their only child. Runa, however, was troubled. Diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, she dropped out of middle school after attacking a classmate, her alternate personality aggressive and unpredictable. Introverted, she disliked men, rarely left home, and had no job or social connections, yet she loved her parents fiercely, their bond a lifeline in her fractured world. What could drive this family to such a gruesome act? Police searched the Tamura home, a 3-story building tidy outside but chaotic within. Cardboard boxes and trash filled the rooms, a foul odor permeating the air. They found Runa, along with the suitcase, black clothes, blonde wig, and a saw, evidence tying her to the crime. On the 2nd floor, the smell intensified. In the bathroom, a decomposed human head rested, its features unrecognizable. Dental records and DNA confirmed it was Hiroshi's. On July 24th, Osamu was arrested at an internet cafe. Hiroko the next day. Runa confessed, but her words muddied the waters. She claimed an alternate personality committed the murder, a version of herself she couldn't control. The police pieced together a possible motive. 2 months prior, Runa, under Osamu's supervision, joined a Susukino club to socialize. There she met Hiroshi, who presented as a mature woman. Surveillance showed them close, even intimate. With Osamu watching from afar, Hiroshi, skilled at deception, lured Runa to a hotel where he assaulted her, revealing his true gender. Humiliated, Runa told her parents. Osamu, enraged, confronted Hiroshi, who promised to stay away but continued harassing Runa, allegedly with a compromising video. Fearing exposure, the Tamarists avoided police, their desperation mounting. Osamu's actions grew erratic. He laid a white cloth outside their home, a cryptic warning, and monitored the area, chasing Hiroshi off when he lingered. When Hiroshi invited Runa to meet again, Osamu saw a chance to end the threat. On July 1, he bought a knife, saw a suitcase, earrings, and wig. That evening, Runa, disguised, met Hiroshi at the Let's Hotel. 3 hours later, she left, the suitcase heavier, Hiroshi's head inside. Osamu's car waited nearby. They believed they'd escape, but the head remained in their bathroom, a grim reminder of their failure. Speculation swirled online. Some theorized the beheading hid Hiroshi's identity, delaying the investigation. Others suggested it was to unlock his phone via facial recognition, deleting the video. A wild rumor claimed Osamu hid in the suitcase, emerging to kill Hiroshi while Runa restrained him. Osamu's surgical knowledge, despite switching from surgery due to dizziness, lent credence to his involvement. Yet doubts persisted. Could the suitcase hold both Osamu and tools? Was Runa's confession a shield for her father? The case captivated Japan, headlines screaming of the headless murder. Public sympathy shifted as Hiroshi's predatory behavior emerged, casting Runa as a victim. Her mental illness fueled calls for leniency. The trial looms. Hiroko's role unclear. The Tamuras, once a family of love, now face ruin. As the rain falls, imagine Runa in that hotel room. The knife in her hand, her mind a battleground of selves. Was she a killer, a victim, or both? In the shadows of Susukino, the truth remains just out of reach. Part 4, the disappearance of Jing Yimei. In the heart of Columbia, Missouri, where college town charm meets quiet suburban streets, Jing Yimei built a life that shimmered with promise. Born in Xi'an, China, in 1991, she was a prodigy whose intellect carried her across oceans to a master's degree and a new beginning in America. By 2017, she was a wife, and by 2018, a mother. Her days filled with the laughter of her infant daughter, but beneath the surface of her American dream, shadows gathered. Cultural divides, unspoken resentments, and a husband whose control tightened like a noose. On October 8, 2019, Jingyi vanished, leaving behind her phone, her belongings, and a 1-year-old daughter still breastfeeding. What followed was a search that uncovered not just a body, but a chilling truth about love turned lethal. This is the story of Jing Yimei, Joseph Elledge, and a murder that shattered a family. Jing Yimei's life was a testament to ambition. As an only child in Xi'an, she was her parents' pride, their hopes pinned on her sharp wit and boundless curiosity. From age 5, she mastered calligraphy and painting, her small hands tracing delicate strokes. By 7, she swam and played table tennis, her competitive spirit shining. At 10, she strummed the guitar, and erhu, her talents blooming alongside her academic prowess. English was her key to the world, and her parents hired a private tutor to perfect it, dreaming of her future abroad. In school, Jingyi was relentless, top of her class, her eyes fixed on a horizon far beyond Xi'an's ancient walls. High school brought focus. Jingyi chose science, her mind thriving on precision. In 2009, she was accepted into the East China University of Science and Technology in Shanghai, majoring in mechanical engineering. Shanghai's pulse fueled her drive, and she excelled, her grades earning her a rare opportunity, an exchange program at the University of Missouri, a prestigious Ivy League caliber institution in Columbia. In 2012, she arrived in the U.S., a 21-year-old navigating a new language and culture. Undaunted, she adapted, her professors noting her brilliance. By December 2014, at 23, Jingyi earned her master's in mechanical and aerospace engineering, a degree that promised a bright future. Instead of returning to China, Jingyi chose to stay in Colombia, accepting a job at a dental products manufacturing company. The city, with its tree-lined streets and vibrant student life, felt like home. Her career flourished, her meticulous nature making her a standout. In 2016, she met Joseph Ellich, a 21-year-old intern at her company, a student at her alma mater. Joseph, lanky and charming, was still finding his path, but Jingyi saw potential in his easy smile. The relationship moved quickly. Coffee dates turned to late-night talks, and soon they were inseparable. Jingyi, older and established, became his mentor, then his love. Joseph was smitten, and Jingyi, for the first time, let her guard down. In 2017, to prove his commitment, Joseph traveled to Xi'an to meet her parents, navigating cultural differences with earnest effort. Her family approved, seeing his devotion. On September 22, 2017, Jingyi and Joseph married in a small ceremony. Their vows witnessed by family and friends. They settled into a 750-square-foot apartment in East Columbia, a cozy space filled with dreams. Jingyi shared their life on social media, photos of dinners, walks, and quiet moments, her captions glowing with optimism. To the world, they were a couple in love, building a future together. In October 2018, their daughter was born, a joy that transformed Jingyi's world. She took maternity leave, planning to return to work once her daughter started preschool. Her parents flew from China, staying for months to help, their presence a bridge to her roots. But as the newborn days unfolded, cracks appeared in Jingyi and Joseph's marriage. Cultural differences, once charming, became chasms. In China, postpartum care is sacred. Mothers follow strict practices, resting for weeks, avoiding cold, eating nourishing foods. Jingyi and her mother adhered to these traditions, but Joseph, raised in Missouri's casual culture, found them alien. He felt sidelined, unable to speak Chinese, his suggestions dismissed. Tensions simmered, unspoken but palpable. By summer 2019, the strain was undeniable. Jingyi, at home full-time, couldn't return to her job, taking online translation work to supplement income. Joseph, meanwhile, landed an internship at a company in Carthage, Missouri, a 2-hour drive away. He rented a nearby apartment, citing the commute, but the distance, physical and emotional, grew. Weekends home were marked by arguments, their voices rising over childcare, finances, and unspoken resentments. Jingyi felt isolated, her dreams deferred, while Joseph chafed under her expectations. Their once warm apartment felt like a battleground. Jingyi's parents, back in China, sensed her distress through daily video calls. She confided in friends, hinting at divorce. In August 2019, she contacted a friend about divorce lawyers, a sign her resolve was hardening. Photos surfaced of their daughter with bruises, injuries Jingyi attributed to Joseph. She considered reporting him, but relented when he promised change. The decision haunted her. On October 8, 2019, Jenny spoke to her mother via video call at 9:15 p.m. discussing formula for her daughter. It was her last conversation. By morning, she was gone. The next day, Jingyi's parents couldn't reach her. Her phone went unanswered, a stark contrast to their daily talks. They called Joseph, then his mother, but got vague excuses. Her phone was broken, she was working. Alarmed, Jingyi's mother asked a friend in Colombia to check their apartment. On October 10, after light drizzle, the friend arrived, video calling Jingyi's mother. Joseph answered the door, calm, claiming Jingyi had gone to work and would return soon. Her daughter, still breastfeeding, was with him unfazed. But Jingyi's mother demanded action. At 3:30 p.m., Joseph reported her missing. 2 days after she vanished, police launched an investigation, entering Jingyi's information into the National Missing Persons Database. Her credit card records showed no activity. Her phone left behind with her passport and clothes. The apartment had no surveillance, but Joseph's story raised red flags. He claimed that on October 8th, he'd given Jingyi a back massage, hoping for intimacy, but she declined. A pattern, he said. He played video games on the couch, went to bed at 11:30 p.m., and found her asleep. At 5 a.m., their daughter's cries woke him. By 8 a.m., Jingyi was gone, her wallet the only item missing. Her car remained parked outside. Joseph's behavior was odd. On October 9, he drove their daughter to Jefferson City, 30 miles south. Returning at 10:30 a.m. that evening, he drove to Ashland, Guthrie, and the Katy Trail, a wooded path west of Columbia, not returning until 9:30 p.m. He claimed he was clearing his mind, but the route seemed aimless, suspicious. Police uncovered more audio recordings on his phone, captured 12 arguments, Joseph berating Jingyi, saying, "I'm gonna bury you in the ground. You're lucky to be in the U.S. His journal, 51 pages long, detailed his hatred, while another notebook coached him on police interrogations. Photos showed their daughter's injuries, confirming abuse. On October 17, police interrogated Joseph, obtaining a search warrant for his apartment, computer, and phone. Cell data revealed he'd hidden parts of his October 9 itinerary, driving to Boonville and Lamine, stopping near the Lamine River for 45 minutes. By October 25, police arrested him for child abuse, catching him packing with his mother, possibly fleeing. Bail was set at $500,000, 0 cents, unusually high, signaling suspicion of worse crimes. A month later, police declared Xingyi's disappearance a homicide. Joseph, the prime suspect. They searched the Lamine River using divers and sonar, but found nothing. A false lead, they later realized. The Chinese community rallied, volunteers and friends joining the search. Xingyi's parents arrived from China, their grief palpable. Joseph's public behavior fueled suspicion. In a 99-minute TV interview, he laughed inappropriately, describing Xingyi as professional, hardworking. His tone detached, as if reading a resume. He hinted at an affair, saying she had plans to meet someone, yet showed no urgency. He had used her social media to message a friend, probing if Xingyi had contacted her, admitting their strained relationship but ignoring offers of help. On March 15, 2020, a hiker in Rockbridge State Park, 5 miles from Columbia, found human remains and a wallet. Dental records confirmed it was Xingyi. The discovery shifted the case. Joseph changed his story, claiming that on October 8, he'd seen messages on Xingyi's phone suggesting an affair. After a massage attempt led to an argument, he went to the kitchen, intending to take their daughter for a walk. Xingyi pushed him. He pushed back, and she hit a cabinet, then fell, striking her head. Panicked, he placed her on the sofa, but she warned him not to leave. He walked outside for 45 minutes, returning to find her gone from the sofa. At 11:30 p.m., she was in bed, seemingly asleep. At 5 a.m., she was cold, lifeless. Terrified, Joseph claimed he hid her body in his car trunk, driving aimlessly on October 9, unable to find a burial spot. The next day, as Xingyi's mother's friend arrived, he lied, then buried her body in Rockbridge State Park, half a mile from where he'd proposed. Thorns on his shoes linked him to the site. In February 2020, he was charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and domestic assault. His defense argued an accident. Xingyi's fall caused a brain hemorrhage, and his cover-up was panic, not premeditation. Prosecutors countered that he strangled her during the massage, motivated by jealousy and divorce costs. Her death planned to keep their daughter and avoid financial ruin. The trial began October 1st, 2021. Audio recordings, Joseph's journal, and the child abuse evidence painted a damning picture. The prosecution highlighted his control, his lies, the deliberate burial. On November 11th, the jury convicted him of second-degree murder, recommending 28 years. The defense appealed, arguing unfair evidence. Recordings didn't prove motive. The interrogation violated rights, and soil on his shoes was circumstantial. On January 7th, 2022, the judge upheld the sentence, citing Joseph's lack of remorse. He remains in prison, his daughter with family, her mother's memory a ghost in Colombia's quiet streets. Xingyi Meng's story is a haunting reminder that love can hide darkness. She crossed oceans for a dream, only to find a nightmare in the man she trusted. As the rain falls, picture her in that apartment, her daughter's laughter fading, the weight of her choices pressing down. What would you do when the one you love becomes your end? In the shadows of Colombia, Xingyi's voice lingers, asking for justice. Part 5, The Murder of Wang Ling. In the elite Fuyuan neighborhood of Ziyang City, China, where wealth and power cast long shadows, the illusion of safety was shattered by a single phone call. The Chengdu District Police Station, usually a place of routine, buzzed with urgency as officers learn of a murder in a community reserved for the city's elite. Business tycoons, high-ranking officials, and those who wielded influence. The victim was Wang Ling, the wife of Qin Bing, a prominent prosecutor on the cusp of becoming chief prosecutor. Her death, marked by 21 savage stab wounds, revealed a meticulously staged crime scene in a web of corruption, infidelity, and cold calculation. This is the story of Wang Ling Qinbing and a murder that exposed the dark heart of power. Ziyang City, nestled in Sichuan province, is a place where tradition meets ambition. Fuyuan, its most exclusive enclave, was a fortress of privilege, its high-rise apartments guarded by top-tier security. Wang Ling and Chen Bing's home was a testament to their status. Spacious, modern, filled with the trappings of success, Wang Ling, a private business owner, was known for her elegance and discretion, while Chen Bing, a rising star in the prosecutor's office, carried the weight of justice with an air of invincibility. To their neighbors, they were the perfect couple, their lives a polished facade. But on the morning of the murder, that facade crumbled. Chen Bing's day began like any other. At 7:40 a.m., he left for work, leaving Wang Ling asleep in their bed. As a businesswoman, she had the luxury of late mornings, her schedule fluid. By midday, a friend named Lu called Chen Bing, unable to reach Wang Ling. Her phone went straight to voicemail, an anomaly for someone who kept it on 24/7. Chen Bing tried their landline, no answer. A gnawing unease took hold. He called a neighbor on the third floor, asking them to knock on the door. The neighbor's persistent knocks went unanswered, and Wang Ling's phone remained silent. Hours passed, each minute tightening the knot in Chen Bing's chest. By late evening, Chen Bing, accompanied by friends, returned home. In his haste, he'd forgotten his keys. Knocking yielded no response, and a friend climbed over from the adjacent apartment's balcony to peer inside. The balcony door was locked, but through the glass they saw Wang Ling lying motionless on the bed, blood staining the sheets. A cry of alarm pierced the night. Chen Bing called the police, his voice trembling with grief. Or so it seemed. When officers arrived, they broke the lock and entered, met by a scene that would haunt even the most seasoned among them. Wang Ling lay on the bed in a pink nightgown, her face covered with clothing, her chest and abdomen riddled with wounds. Her lower body was exposed, nylon cords binding her arms, her eyes wide open, mouth gagged with cloth. Blood soaked the sheets, pooling on the floor. 2 sets of shoe prints suggested a violent struggle, scattered bloodstains hinting at chaos. Male hair, not Chen Bing's, was found in her genital area, suggesting a sexual assault. Yet the room was oddly intact. No fingerprints, no forced entry, windows and doors undisturbed. The killer had been careful, deliberate. The crime scene yielded more questions than answers. A search uncovered 138 bullets, over 100, 0 yuan in cash, about $14, 0 cents, and securities worth 2 million yuan, $280, 0 cents. The body was named Chen Bing as a gift from a soldier friend, legal for a prosecutor with a service weapon. The cash and securities he claimed were Wang Ling's business assets, unknown to him. His position as a high-ranking official, coupled with his impending promotion, drew intense scrutiny. The murder wasn't just a tragedy, it was a scandal, shaking Ziyang's elite and drawing national attention. The police formed a major crimes task force, their investigation fueled by the case's high profile. The autopsy revealed the brutality of Wang Ling's death, 21 stab wounds, each potentially fatal, delivered with a hatred that suggested personal motive. Her body showed signs of struggle, yet forensic tests found no semen or assault injuries, ruling out sexual assault. The male hair remained a mystery. Planted perhaps to mislead, the team considered 3 theories: a robbery gone wrong, a targeted killing, or a crime of passion or revenge. The robbery theory faltered. Blood-stained gloves littered the scene, but the cash and valuables were untouched, drawers undisturbed. The killer had lingered for at least 30 minutes post-murder, negating the idea of panic. The targeted killing theory gained traction. Wang Ling's bound, naked body and the staged assault suggested intent to kill, not rob. But who? Wang Ling was upright, with no known enemies. Her employees respected her, her business dealings clean. The revenge theory pointed to Chen Bing's enemies. Criminals he'd prosecuted might target his wife to hurt him. Yet no weapons or tools were found and evidence was scarce. As the investigation stalled, attention turned to Chen Bing. His grief seemed genuine, but cracks appeared. Neighbors reported frequent arguments, some escalating to physical violence. Wang Ling's friend revealed a darker truth. Chen Bing controlled her business, using his influence to manage it covertly while she was its public face. He exploited his position for corruption, accepting bribes and laundering money. His personal life was equally sordid. In 1996, Wang Ling caught him with a young banker, a college graduate. Though he grew discreet, he continued the affair, fathering a child. Shockingly, he also dated the banker's younger sister, showering both with money from Wang Ling's business. Wang Ling, furious, tightened her grip on the company's finances, blocking Qin Bing's access. Their conflicts intensified, her threats to expose his corruption a constant shadow. In her company's safe, police found 20 farewell letters and 6 notebooks detailing his infidelity and financial misconduct. The evidence painted Qin Bing as a man trapped. His ambition, his affairs, his power, all threatened by the woman he'd vowed to love. The task force, wary of his status, called in Wu Giqing, a retired criminal investigator with a reputation for cracking impossible cases. Wu's arrival shifted the investigation's course. He re-examined the crime scene, his meticulous eye catching details others missed. 2 faint bloodstains on the bedspread bore a distinctive knife mark, a slightly curved blade matching Wang Ling's wounds. The shoe prints, all facing inward with no exit tracks, suggested staging. Wang Ling's body showed no bruises around her bindings, odd for a struggle. Wu hypothesized she was unconscious before the attack. Blood tests revealed high levels of sedatives, but no injection marks or pills were found suggesting ingestion. Wu concluded Wang Ling took the sedatives unknowingly, likely administered by someone close. Qin Bing's initial statement that he left at 7 a.m. came under scrutiny. Wu speculated he left after Wang Ling's death. After 108 days, Qin Bing was detained. He remained silent during interrogations, but Wu's team made a breakthrough. The shoe prints, despite attempts to disguise them, matched Qin Bing's shoes. Wang Ling had no history of sleep issues, ruling out self-administered sedatives. Only 2 people were home the night before, Qin Bing and Wang Ling. A former classmate revealed Qin Bing owned a curved knife, a gift, though he claimed it was lost. The wounds matched its shape perfectly. The deeper the investigation went, the more Qin Bing's crimes surfaced. As head of the anti-corruption department, he'd borrowed 4 million yuan, $560,000, 0 cents, from a state bank, funneling it through Wang Ling's name to a car dealership, earning 2 million yuan annually. Over 6 years, he amassed 12 million yuan, $1,700,000, 0 cents. In gambling circles, he was untouchable, his losses covered by those seeking favors. His arrogance was legendary. Once he flashed a gun at a taxi driver demanding payment, later covering up the incident. As chief prosecutor, he survived scandals, including a criminal's escape and a suspect's death, his power growing unchecked. On February 18, 2004, Qin Bing was arrested for murder, illegal weapon possession, and bribery. Under relentless questioning, he confessed. The night before the murder, he and Wang Ling attended a friend's party. At an art viewing, Wang Ling publicly scolded him for mocking a painting, humiliating him. Enraged, they argued at home, her words cutting deep. Alone, fueled by alcohol and resentment, Qin Bing decided to kill her. He crushed 5 sleeping pills from a Shenzhen trip into her water, apologizing to lure her into drinking it. An hour later, she was unconscious. At 4 a.m., Qin Bing donned white gloves, grabbed a nylon cord and the curved knife, and entered the bedroom. He tied her up, stabbing her twice in the chest. Wang Ling's faint moans prompted him to gag her, then stab twice more, the 4th blow fatal. Her open eyes haunted him, and he covered her face, unable to bear her gaze. Using his prosecutorial expertise, he staged a scene, overturning pillows, ransacking drawers, wearing new shoes to create false prints, and planting another man's hair to suggest assault. He disposed of the knife, cord, and gloves in the Wei River, leaving at 6 a.m. under morning fog. Qin Bing believed his plan was flawless, but Wu's persistence unraveled it. On November 22, 2004, the Ziyang People's Procurator charged him with murder, bribery, and weapons violations. The trial, held behind closed doors due to his status, began January 17, 2005. Qin Bing recanted his confession, alleging torture in room 313, a claim the police denied, where he described swollen legs, arm pain, and a female staff member witnessing coercion before disappearing. The court dismissed his defense, citing his counter-investigation skills and a clean medical exam. On April 5th, 2005, he confessed fully, detailing the murder. The Sichuan Provincial Supreme Court sentenced him to death. Before execution, Qin Bing told his lawyer he was innocent, but a last-minute call to halt the sentence came too late. He was executed by gunfire, his body cremated, never returned to his family. Questions lingered. Was he tortured? Or was his confession genuine? His brother doubted his guilt, citing his timid nature, while the missing evidence, knife, gloves, sedatives, fueled skepticism. Yet the brutality, the stage scene, and his corruption pointed to a man capable of anything. Wang Ling's story is a chilling reminder that power corrupts and love can mask malice. She stood by Qinbing only to fall to his blade, her trust betrayed in their own bed. As the rain falls, picture her in that final moment, the sedative clouding her mind, unaware of the knife above her. What drives a man to destroy the life he built? In Ziyang's elite shadows, Wang Ling's unanswered questions echo, demanding truth. As the rain whispers its final notes against the night, the stories of Elizabeth Zhang, Yang Yang Yong, Hiroshiora, Jingyi Meng, and Wang Ling fade into the darkness, yet their echoes remain. Each tale, a thread in the tapestry of human frailty, weaves together ambition, betrayal, and the chilling consequences of trust misplaced. From Auckland's quiet suburbs to Sapporo's neon streets, from Columbia's college town to Ziyang's elite enclaves, these lives remind us that the past is never truly buried. It lingers, watching, waiting to unravel the secrets we hide. In the stillness, their voices ask, what would you do when love turns to vengeance, when power becomes a blade? Thank you for joining us at Shadows of the Past, where the rain carries truths too heavy for daylight. If these stories gripped your heart or haunted your dreams, leave a like, share with those who wander the night, and subscribe to uncover more mysteries hidden in the shadows. Tell us in the comments which tale chilled you most, or where you're listening as the storm softens. These crimes, rooted in reality, urge us to stay vigilant, to question the faces we trust. As you drift toward sleep, let the rain wash away the weight of their tragedies, but hold close the lessons they leave behind. Sleep well, stay curious, and let the night guard its secrets. Until we meet again.